The 2026 Toyota Land Cruiser is one of the most iconic SUVs ever built. People buy it because of its reputation for reliability, off-road capability, and long-term durability. But before you rush out and buy one, there are a few important things you should know. Because while the new Land Cruiser still carries that legendary badge, this generation is actually very different from the older ones. It's smaller, more efficient, and more modern, but it also comes with a few trade-offs that potential buyers need to understand. So in this video, we're going to break down what it's really like to own the 2026 Land Cruiser, including ownership costs, fuel economy, interior practicality, reliability expectations, and how it compares to other SUVs you might be considering. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly whether the Land Cruiser is the right SUV for you. Real ownership cost. Let's start with something every buyer should think about: the real cost of ownership. Because even though the Land Cruiser is known for durability, owning one still isn't cheap. The starting price for the 2026 Land Cruiser in the US is expected to be around $56,000 to about $62,000, depending on the trim. That puts it directly in the premium mid-size SUV category. Now, when it comes to fuel costs, the new Land Cruiser actually performs better than older models thanks to its hybrid powertrain. You get Toyota's iForce Max hybrid system, which combines a 2.4-liter turbocharged engine with an electric motor. Fuel economy is expected to average around 23 mpg combined, which is a huge improvement over the previous V8 Land Cruiser that struggled to reach 15 mpg. For drivers in the US or Canada, that could save hundreds of dollars per year in fuel compared with older body-on-frame SUVs. Insurance is also something buyers should consider. Because the Land Cruiser sits in a higher price bracket and is considered a premium SUV, insurance costs will usually fall between $1,600 and $2,200 per year, depending on your location and driving history. Maintenance costs are where Toyota usually shines. Compared with many luxury SUVs, routine maintenance on the Land Cruiser is generally relatively affordable. Typical annual maintenance is estimated around $500 to $800 per year, which is quite reasonable for a large SUV. And because Toyota vehicles tend to be very durable, long-term ownership costs often remain lower than competitors. Real-world fuel economy. Fuel economy is one of the biggest changes with this new Land Cruiser. Instead of the thirsty V8 engines that older models used, the 2026 Land Cruiser uses a hybrid turbocharged four-cylinder. On paper, EPA estimates are around 22 mpg city and 25 mpg highway, which is very impressive for a body-on-frame SUV. But in real-world driving, most owners will probably see something closer to 21 to 23 mpg combined. That number will depend heavily on how you drive. If you spend most of your time commuting in the city, the hybrid system actually helps quite a bit because the electric motor assists during acceleration. Highway driving tends to be slightly less efficient because the gas engine does most of the work at higher speeds. And if you plan on off-roading or towing, expect fuel economy to drop significantly. Still, compared with traditional off-road SUVs like the 4Runner or older Land Cruisers, the new hybrid setup is a big improvement. Interior practicality. Step inside the Land Cruiser and you'll notice something interesting. Toyota designed this interior to be functional rather than flashy. You get a clean dashboard layout, large physical controls, and materials that feel durable. Passenger space is pretty good for a mid-size SUV. Front seats are comfortable with good visibility, and the upright driving position makes it easy to see the road, especially helpful if you plan on driving off-road. Rear passengers also get decent legroom, although it's not quite as spacious as some larger three-row SUVs. And that's another important thing to know. The new Land Cruiser is only available as a two-row SUV in the US market. So if you need 3 rows for a big family, you might want to consider something like a Toyota Grand Highlander or a Chevy Traverse instead. cargo space is respectable, but again, not class-leading. You'll get around 37 cubic feet behind the rear seats, which expands significantly when the seats are folded down. Technology is modern but simple. Depending on the trim level, you'll get a 12.3-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and Toyota's latest driver assistance systems. The infotainment system is fairly easy to use, and thankfully, Toyota still keeps physical knobs for important controls like volume and climate. Maintenance and reliability. Now, let's talk about something that has always defined the Land Cruiser name: reliability. Toyota has built a reputation for making extremely durable vehicles, and the Land Cruiser has historically been one of the most reliable SUVs on the planet. Many older Land Cruisers easily last 300,000 miles or more with proper maintenance. The big question with the new model is the hybrid powertrain. While hybrid systems add complexity, Toyota actually has a strong track record with hybrid reliability. Models like the Prius, Camry Hybrid, and Highlander Hybrid have proven that Toyota's hybrid technology can last for hundreds of thousands of miles. The turbocharged engine is a newer design though, so long-term durability is still something that will be proven over time. That said, Toyota engineering standards tend to be very conservative, which usually leads to strong long-term reliability. Competitor comparison. Before buying the Land Cruiser, it's also important to see how it stacks up against other SUVs in the same category. One of the most obvious competitors is the Ford Bronco. The Bronco is arguably better if your main goal is hardcore off-roading. It also offers removable doors and roof panels, which the Land Cruiser does not. But when it comes to daily comfort and reliability, the Toyota is likely the safer long-term bet. Another competitor is the Jeep Wrangler. Just like the Bronco, the Wrangler is extremely capable off-road. However, the Wrangler tends to have rougher ride quality and historically lower reliability compared with Toyota. Then there's the Toyota 4Runner. The 4Runner is slightly cheaper and has a strong off-road reputation, but the new Land Cruiser offers a more modern interior, better fuel economy, and more advanced technology. So, in many ways, the Land Cruiser sits right between a rugged off-roader and a comfortable daily SUV. Final advice. So, should you buy the 2026 Land Cruiser? For many people, the answer will be yes. This SUV is a great choice if you want something that combines off-road capability, strong reliability expectations, and modern efficiency. It's also ideal for buyers who plan to keep their vehicle for a long time, because Toyota vehicles tend to hold their value extremely well. But the Land Cruiser isn't perfect. If you need 3 rows of seating, want the best fuel economy, or are looking for the most luxurious interior in this price range, there are other SUVs that might fit your needs better. However, if you want a vehicle that can handle daily commuting, long road trips, and serious off-road adventures while still being known for durability, the Land Cruiser remains one of the most trusted SUVs you can buy. And that's exactly why it continues to have such a loyal following around the world.